Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 7 of the ANZCAR Grand National Championship here. I am Stuart Brown. I am your host for this evening. We had a few technical difficulties just getting online there, so apologies for the late start. We have had qualifying already take place, and we're just trying to get these last few bits and pieces sorted here for you. So we are on our formation lap at the moment.
Green flag, green flag.
Okay, so we are off and running here at the round 7 of, it's actually round 8 of the ANZCAR Grand Nationals, and again, apologies for the delays in getting started there. So we are off and running, and it looks like Matthew Raymond is leading us around for the second lap of this race. So we've got a 130 laps or an hour 50 on this one. So at this stage, just looking through this and trying to catch up on what has gone on so far. I can hear there's some accidents going on in the background there with a few people entering into the pit lane. So we've just had a few dramas with the stream getting up and started, but we'll battle on regardless without those other bits and pieces that we had planned to bring to you tonight. So look forward to bringing you the rest of that stuff next week. So we're just focused here on Hamish Gallagher, who is currently running in 4th. He is in the Ford. Jump on board with Matthew Raymond, who is actually the leader of this race. Have a look at the job that he is doing there. So they've jumped out to a little bit of an early lead here, Raymond and Foster, around about half a second up on the chasing pack. And the track here, for those of you who don't know, is about half a mile long. We've got banking of around about 12 degrees, so relatively flat banking at this track here. The track itself's been around for a long time, actually. It was one of the first tracks to join into NASCAR when it launched way back in around about 1947. So lots of history at this track. It was a clay-built track to start off with. So just catching up on the numbers through the week as to where this series is at. So Jason Hardigan did win the race last week. He is in the number 51 Chevrolet, currently running in 5th place. We also had Roger Clark, who isn't there tonight, finish 3rd. Joshua Carroll Waldron finished 2nd. He also unfortunately hasn't made it to the race tonight. Hamish Gallagher currently in 3rd, finishing 4th last week, and running out in the top 5 was Norman Clark, who is also here with us. So this is a fantastic new mod that they've brought into iRacing, as there's a little bit of action going on in the background. I can hear some clunking and stuff like that going on. So just there, the Visco car just making its way around. I think we do have a full caution on track as well. Just waiting for that to play its way out. So we're going to have a flurry of action in the pits here. Some of the drivers pulling in, some deciding to keep going behind the pace car. So just while they are under the control of the pace car, we're just going to try and fix a couple of these quick issues we had earlier that are just affecting the stream there. So just bear with us while we do that. And hopefully we'll have it all back up and running properly before the cars and the lights go green again. So we're just still sitting on Matthew Raymond there. Okay, and it looks like we are back. Hooray. So sorry again about all of that. We will be up and running properly for next week. So now I can actually do what we need to do. So we'll jump on board with the leader here, Stephen Clark, who will form up behind the pace car there as everyone is jumping in behind him as well. So a couple of the things different about our stream, or what we try to bring you a little bit different about our stream. We do run a dual camera setup here so that we can give you another perspective of what's going on. So while we focus on the lead pack and the lead drivers, we do then try and bring you some more of the coverage from back further in the field, which allows us to keep a little bit of an eye on what's going on, and also gives you the viewer the ability to have a look at potentially who you might be following if we're not following them along for you. So they're just now under control of the lead car, and they're off and going again. So Steve Clark, it will try and get away and make a break for it, not choosing to jump through pit lane in that safety car period, as the rest of the drivers did actually all go through the pit lane there. So choosing to try and cut and run. He's ahead of the 53 Clark of Edward Foster, followed by Brian Richmond and Jason Hardigan there in fourth as they go too wide down the front straight and approaching. Oh, and there's been a touch and a slide, and this will bring out a full course caution again. It's a little bit unfortunate there that they couldn't keep that clean and start to give us some clean racing. So we'll just see if anyone jumps into the pits here. It'll be probably a minimum of a 2 or 3 lap caution while they address technically the cars that came off track. So jump back on board with Edward Foster, who has pulled up behind the safety car there. I did mention at the top of the show, we're very thankful that ANZCAR have given us the opportunity to bring you this Grand National Series. We're only covering the second half of the series, as we mentioned. We are into the 8th round here, so looking forward to bringing you the rest of this one, and hopefully being involved next year as our race leader produces another season of these exciting cars. So no downforce, not really any aerodynamics whatsoever actually. There's a small bobtail on the back of these cars, and 340 k's an hour with not a lot of help, and so some very loose driving possible as a result of that combination of to the wall racing. So from a bygone era, I had a look back through, and this particular race in 1987 did take place. So it was still part of the series back then, and the winner in that night was actually Dale Earnhardt. So I'm pretty sure his son's now racing still in the NASCAR series that's running. Hopefully, is back up and running now. So he was the winner here. It was the Goodies 500 back then. Yeah, not doing 500 today, but I actually probably will get to 500. So just a little bit of history of the track and the race there. So. So they're just still bringing it around under the safety car here. So just slowly bringing that around, waiting for the light to go green, and there we go, and we are off and running again with Edward Foster now in control of the field. We still do have one car in the pit lane, still Stephen Clark, who was involved in that incident a little earlier on in the race. So hopefully we can get underway here and get some clean laps happening. That would be good for us as the viewing public to try and get ourselves up and running. So we are still having some issues there with the overlay, so I apologise for that. It looks like it's going to plague us tonight. Oh, there we go. It's come back up now, so we're off and running again. So Edward Foster leading the pack around now. We've done just on 22 laps in this one. And yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of one of these races. We have had Brian Richmond just go around there, and we've got another yellow flag. So unfortunately not able to keep us under the green flag for too long there. Okay, so we're still bringing cars around in the caution here. We have had our car from pit lane rejoin the back of the pack, and we are finally fixed with our issues with the overlay as well. So sorry for the blank air there. I've apologised a lot tonight. It's the hopefully last time. Okay, so just to review your grid here, we do have Edward Foster in first place, Hardigan second, Uquijo, apologies, third, Hunter in fourth, Clark in fifth, Withy in sixth, Raymond in seventh, Gallagher eighth, and Clark and Richmond ninth and 10th respectively, both a lap or further down as we form up here for the restart just still under caution flag, waiting for the caution flag or lights to go green again, and they have, and we're off and running. And once again, Edward Foster has resumed the lead in this race. So just hoping that we can have some clean running here. We'll just jump onto the second half of the field here. We'll jump on with Matthew Raymond as he is in that battle pack a little bit further back in the field in the battle for 6th through 10th place. So there's a car out there that sounds like it's struggling away a little bit, but they keep going in this 130 lap race at this famous circuit. So Foster continues to lead, and once again in that little battle pack there has been another incident. So we have gone back to a full course yellow, and this may trigger another range of pit stops for our drivers. So we'll just keep an eye and see who does duck into the pits here. Albeit we haven't done a lot of clean laps, so maybe the drivers might choose to stay out there. It looks like it's a little slippery for them as well. So while they're going around here, we'll just quickly check the weather conditions at the track. Track temperature there sitting at 23 degrees, so not too bad, but again, as we mentioned, these cars not with a lot of aero, not with a lot of grip, a lot of power. There's no restrictions on power in this class. Not back in the day. It was literally, to an extent, run what you brung. As we do have 3 drivers who have entered the pit lane here. You can see that just on the small screen there, with Hardigan, Equija, and Clark all entering into the pit lane to get service. So new tyres are being taken by Hardigan, and looks like there's a little bit of repair to go to the 42 car as well. But he is just taking tyres as we sit at the moment. Number 9 car of Norm Clark just jumping out of the pits there. The Lachlan Curta has jumped out as well as Jason Hardigan now joining back onto the back of the field. So they'll make their way back around onto the back of the main pack, but unfortunately have fallen a lap behind the rest of the field. They'll catch that up, and we will get back underway racing again in a few short moments. So if you are out there joining us tonight, certainly jump in the comments and let us know and say hello. We certainly appreciate the ability to jump on. And thanks, Roger, for letting us know that you are tuning in, even though you didn't manage to make it to the race tonight. Pity you couldn't get here, but we will certainly see you next week as we bring you the next round. And next round I'm actually excited about. We are headed to Talladega for some more classic racing. So going to be good fun, particularly once we get ourselves a little bit more acquainted with the drivers in this class. Obviously, being our first stream, we've sort of caught up on what has gone on in the first 7 rounds of this event, and but don't really know the drivers yet. Haven't got a lot of background on them yet, but we will get there and continue to bring you the best in that we can in terms of this coverage. So just waiting for the cars to group up there. There has been a wave through for the Tide liveried car. So that one there of Stephen Clark as he's made his way back up to the inside on the front of the field. And I reckon this time around we will see that safety car peel off to the inside, as I believe he has now, and we are under control of Edward Foster as he sits at the front of this field. And we're off and racing again. We've got green again, and it is Foster again who will take us into turn 1 and take the field around. So we'll just jump into the backpack again. Jason Hardigan making his way up the field a little bit there as they go 3 wide down the front straight into turn 3, down the back straight, my apologies, into turn 3, and we do have a change for the lead there with the 17 car of Stephen Clark taking that lead spot away. Steve Clark taking that lead away there. That one of the numbers has appeared wrong as well. That's not going to help me. So he's actually unlapped himself and will make his way off and back around to the pack. So that will help if we have another safety car. He'll be able to run his way back around onto the back of this field and get himself back onto the lead lap. So just taking off and trying to run a little bit there with Foster still in the lead of the race. He's got just over half a second gap back to Raymond in second place in the 83 Chevrolet, with Hamish Gallagher in third in the 13 Ford. So the backpack there still going too wide into turn 3. As they come down that back straight into turn 3, too wide. So definitely using the brakes here to get these things turned in. It's not the longest track that we will visit, so certainly not the highest pace track we will visit either, but definitely these cars are always going to produce exciting races for us. So there's we'll see there that Stephen Clark is trying to make a little bit of a break for it to get himself away there, but I think Foster's just using the benefit of the tow to help himself get a lead there, with that lead opening up to just out over a second over Raymond in second place there. We do have the 9 car of Norman Clark and the 51 of Jason Hardigan there fighting it out at this stage for 5th and 6th, and there's been a little bit of a bump on the 48, and unfortunately we're going to go to full course yellow again with 4 cars involved in that, including 2 now parked on the inside wall. You can see that there on the small screen. So, and we haven't gone to a yellow flag at all, so this will be interesting to see whether or not the drivers managed to get out of the way there. Yeah, they did. So not affecting our leader, Foster there, but that certainly would have played into Stephen Clark's hands as he would have made his way back round on to the back of this lead pack, having unlapped himself. So we continue here to go under green flag racing with Edward Foster leading the race. You can see there the 17 of Clark has closed up on the back of those cars that did unfortunately have a coming together. So see how he can deal with that traffic there. So we jump on board, just keep the main race on the main screen there, and we have switched across on the smaller screen to cover Matthew Raymond, who is coming 4th at this point in time. So still there with Foster on the main screen behind Stephen Clark, navigating their way through some of the slower traffic that were involved in that small accident that didn't bring out or didn't produce a yellow flag. Just interested to see here what sort of speeds we are achieving down these straights. So I've just turned the dash on for Foster there as he does make a move on the 17 car of Clark, which will lap him again. So Clark probably not all that interested in having that happen, and certainly, albeit will go a lap down, wanting to make sure that he fights for that position to stay on the lead lap, probably hoping that there will be a caution thrown at some stage that will allow him to get back up towards the front and join the main pack, albeit if there is another caution, they'll probably pit. So a gap now opening up for him, but again, these other cars probably helping him a little bit with the tow. He will get into the draft on those front cars. I had a go at these a little while ago now, and in the draft there is absolutely no grip whatsoever. You're really holding on for dear life, so probably not helping him that much in terms of car control, but definitely helping him to try and keep Edward Foster at bay and not go that lap down. Both lapping at similar pace too, so not really holding Edward up too much there. But these slower cars in front of them, the lap traffic certainly will be, and they're just making room there as well. Matt Hunter just moving to the side so that these two can go through and continue their fight. Still allowing Clark to open up a little bit of a gap there. Remember, this isn't for the lead of the race, but certainly a close battle to try and maintain his position on the lead lap, and definitely hoping that a little bit of strategy or caution will come his way to enable him to get back up into the lead grouping. As Foster just closes back up on the back of him again there. So in the small window there, we're actually just jumped on the back of the Clark Camaro there. So you can see out the back of his car on that screen, just to see how close Foster gets behind him. And right up on the back of him there, as you can see, basically grill in that small window. So getting nice and close, making sure he knows that he's there. And really probably wanting to, as I said, albeit not holding him up too much at the moment, probably wanting to try and make his way past to extend his lead, albeit he is over half a second in front at this stage of second place, which is Hamish Gallagher. Matt Raymond in third, around about 4 seconds back down the road. So in NASCAR terms, definitely established a reasonable lead. That he will be looking to extend as he's right up again on the back of that 17 car, and in fact right so far up the back of him that he's probably given him a nudge. So definitely letting him know that he is there, and as we all know, Rubbing is racing, and he's gone right up in behind him there and giving him another nudge right on the left-hand rear quarter there. And I'm not sure if that's damaged Foster at all. It doesn't look like it, but it has meant that he has been closed up on again by, I believe, Matt Hunter. So I'm still going to be working out the ins and outs of these cars a little bit in terms of things like fuel and tyres and how long they last. We certainly do a lot of circuit racing coverage in our broadcasts, and we were looking for a series of these fantastic cars to broadcast when ANZCAR gave us the opportunity. So look, we don't know everything. We're certainly still working it out, but I'm really glad to be involved here. It's good close racing, because we can see here again Foster's closing right up on the back. We haven't changed that small window there. That small window still showing you the out of the back of the Clark Camaro there, and Edward Foster looks like he's had enough, and he really wants to try and make a move and get past here as he's back down on the inside again, and another little bit of a rub on the left-hand rear of that Clark car. There's dangerous living going on there. It's easy for the Clark car to come unstuck if the nudge is too hard, and as we said before, Rubbing's racing, so keep an eye out for it. And when it rains, it pours. So again, apologies if you haven't had any car sound there. We have fixed that small audio issue as well. Just a few small teething problems, but we will get around them. So we're an hour 20 to go in this one, so we can sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. It's don't think that it's a time certain race. I actually believe that this is a lap certain race, and just not quite getting that information through at the moment. So you can see there we're almost over halfway through the race now, with at lap 69 of 130. So with Edward Foster still very much in control of this one, albeit still stuck behind Stephen Clark. So obviously if Stephen hadn't been involved in that early damage, he probably would still be right up behind in this grouping and fighting very hard for the lead. So particularly given his lap times sitting well and truly in that of this lead grouping in the low mid 20 second mark. So out to 22 seconds now, pretty much across the field, but low 22 for our race leader, and the man that he is chasing, Stephen Clark, who again, this isn't for position. So these guys racing hard, racing clean, and keeping us interested as we see him close right up on the back again. You can see the damage all over the front of the Foster Camaro as well. So he dives and tries to push down the inside again there. I keep saying it's a Camaro. My apologies, the Chevrolet, I should say. I mean, they're both this. Well, it's not a Camaro, but they are Chevrolets nonetheless. As we see, just another move up the back there as the footage gets really close up behind him. Still keeping it clean, still no turns or anything like that, so. We've got 57 laps to go in this one. So Gallagher just over half a second behind our race leader. With Hardigan 7.5 seconds behind him, and 7 seconds behind him, I should say, and Raymond half a second behind Hardigan. So we've got some small battle packs that are developing, but our two fastest cars on track are sitting in amongst the traffic, and of course that can be dangerous. So as Lachlan just makes a move there and gets up past Norman Clark, who goes a lap down, so taking the wise option of making a little bit of room here. As you can see, once again, the Edward Foster does close right up again on the back of the Stephen Clark Chevrolet. Just jump on board with Jason Hardigan in the small window there, just to see where his race is at, as we do have someone going through the pits as we speak. Carl Withy has taken a pit stop there and is transiting through the pit lane. So Hamish Gallagher there has closed right up on the back of Foster. So not sure if there was an error there or not. Just looking at the last lap time there, doesn't look like there was. So he's just been doing some good work. Potentially the traffic delaying things a little bit there for our race leader. So the gap to our leader back to second place now is just under half. So in fact, it's closed down even further now to just near a quarter of a second. So we're on board with Hamish Gallagher. My apologies, in the small window, so we can keep an eye on both of these battles as they develop. So you might find Foster getting a little bit frustrated now that he can't make his way past Clark, as it is now a battle. He's the meat in the sandwich, trying to get past the Clark Chevrolet number 17, while it is that Hamish Gallagher applies pressure to the rear bumper of his car. So not an ideal circumstance for the race leader at this point in the race. Probably having to push a little harder than he wants to as well, and that may be affecting his tyre wear, and that will play out as we get towards the end of this race in around about probably 20 minutes time at the longest, I think. So you can see there, gap not changing too much, so the three drivers probably benefiting from the draft of one another to establish a gap there, but it doesn't help Foster, who is fighting for position with Gallagher behind him, and really this extended period without a safety car has hurt. Oh, and here we go. As we speak of it, there is a safety car. So how will this work? Yes, so as you can see there, Stephen Clark sets off into the sunset to pick up the back of the safety car, as we are under a yellow flag here. So you may find him pull off into the pit lane. We'll just keep an eye on that. And there it is. So the pace car has picked up our race leader, Edward Foster, and that plan for Stephen Clark has paid dividends. He will make his way around and jump onto the back of this lead pack, and will once again start fighting for position. We'll bring him up as he makes his way around. To try and catch up onto the back of the pack, which he is doing. So our effective race order as we sit under the pace car here is we do have Foster in the lead with Gallagher, and now Clark up to third place, effectively, with our race leader pitting, or choosing to pit under the pace car, along with second place Gallagher. So slightly different pit strategy there to the Tide sponsored, or not officially sponsored, but it's a ripping looking livery from back in the day. So they're all coming in. So it will be that the full field will have done its pit stop, and they will get back out. So once we've adjusted for the order, we will bring that adjusted order to you. We've done 84 laps, or into the 85th lap now of 130. And so this has played really well into the hands of the 17 Chevrolet of Clark, who, albeit he'll drop down the field now, is back on the lead lap, and so therefore can fight for position here, lapping as quick as the cars in front of him. So definitely going to be a fight for him to pick up some spots and get to the front of this race. So we do have Foster leading, Gallagher in second, Raymond in third, with Hardigan fourth, and that car on the small screen there, Stephen Clark in fifth, having come from effectively a lap down, while albeit he maintained his position on track with some fairly handy driving. Just at this juncture, do need to mention our streaming partners. We are lucky enough to have Aftershock PC, who are a streaming partner of FGM eCast. And if you're in the market for a new PC, whether it be for work or for gaming, they are the place to go. Located in Melbourne, but do ship Australia-wide. A couple of local guys giving it a crack in the competitive sector of PC building, and I can tell you we do run their computers for our streams, and they are fantastic hardware that allow us to do everything we need to do. Also, Virtual Motorsport Mentor, somebody who those of you who have participated in this scene for a while will be familiar with. Those of you who are just joining us for the first time, Chris at Virtual Motorsport Mentor does sponsor the ANZCAR series, and if you're in the world of iRacing and want to get faster, even the best have coaches. So as we set off again, Edward Foster making a run for it now. Hamish Gallagher there behind him. We've got a couple of the slower cars just letting the faster guys get through. And we are keeping an eye on the 17 car of Stephen Clark, who was extremely quick, albeit a lap down beforehand. And just to watch how he makes his way back up to the front of this field, and I guarantee he will waste no time in doing it. And that's probably why Foster's set off. He has already opened up a gap of nearly a second over second place Gallagher, with Raymond in third, Hardigan fourth, and that hard-charging Clark in the tied Chevrolet coming through in fifth at this point in time. The lights ablaze at Martinsville. As we get through this one, and Foster literally wasting no time at all. He's done his fastest first sector of this race. So putting the pedal down, and maybe it was that he was being held up a little bit by Clark in that last stint before the yellow flag came out again. So we'll see what sort of time Clark's putting in as well. The rest of the field here almost matching the pace of Foster there as well. He lost a little bit of time in the second part of second sector of that lap. So this thing's obviously all about tenths of seconds rather than circuit racing, albeit circuit racing still has that same issue with tenths of seconds, but way more imperative here, and positioning with the draft. Looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So as we see the 17 of Clark there closing up on the back of the 83 car of Matthew Raymond. So right up behind him there is that little grouping there, which we'll jump onto the main screen for there, with Hardigan, Raymond and Clark all quite close together in this little battle pack that they've got happening there. The gap has opened up a little bit as Raymond starts to try and defend from the aggressive Stephen Clark. We'll put the race leader in the small window there so you can keep an eye on what's going on at the front of this race. But this battle here in the mid-pack is intensifying with Raymond and Clark. You can see there how close they are together, and just waiting for a pass there as he sort of dropped a little bit of time there, Clark. So allowing Raymond to skip out again, probably out of the draft. So see as they come back around now. So Richmond, unfortunately, the only casualty tonight. Brian Richmond out of this race on lap 22. So Foster's opened up a nice, he just has clipped the wall a little bit there, so he has opened up a nice lead of around about 2 seconds from Gallagher behind him, and this little battle pack developing between Clark, Raymond and Hardigan, albeit all of them are on fresh tyres, so the gap, however, has opened right up back to Stephen Clark now. He's closed back up again there, so just the drivers obviously having slightly different strengths or slight inconsistencies in their lap times, allowing them to open and close these gaps a little bit. And now Clark well and truly back into the draft behind Raymond, so keep a close eye here on it and see if they do end up with a challenge for fourth place there from Raymond, and it won't be too long. We've just hit the 100 lap mark as well, so we've got 30 to go in this ANZCAR Grand National race live on the FGM eCast network here for you, live from Martinsville in Virginia. So we get these crazy 87 NASCARs out of the garages and back onto the circuits. The higher pace tracks are really going to be the exciting ones here. These cars have a top speed of around about 340 kilometres an hour. To put it into perspective for some of you, it's around about 40 kilometres an hour faster than a V8 supercar in a straight line, except these things have 1987 technology in them, so when you're driving around, even in the simulator, they're extremely bumpy through the steering, difficult to keep control of. They've got poor brakes. Really, there's not a lot going for them other than they're great to watch as far as a driver goes, but that's part of the challenge as well, is trying to manage and manhandle one of these cars around the track for 130 laps successfully without coming into any trouble there, as we see one of the cars duck off into the pits, and it is Withy, Carl Withy there, who has jumped into pit lane. So Foster has cut and run. He is now 2 seconds still ahead of Gallagher, but a whopping 4 seconds ahead of Hardigan, and 5 back to Raymond. So as we just keep hearing the odd bump and crunch as these cars make their way around, but we're not seeing any incidents on screen. Obviously, if you are watching, you do want to get involved in this series, there are still spots available. We'd love to have a full grid at this event to give us some close racing. So if you are interested in running in this series, you do need to jump onto the ANZCAR Facebook page and submit an application to run in the series. Do so. We do have, I think, 8 rounds to go still in this one, and we'd certainly love to see a full grid of cars out there to give us the entertainment that we're seeing here tonight as well. So still focusing on car 83 here of Matthew Raymond, the gap to Stephen Clark just sitting there around about that sort of half-second mark, so just not quite able to get the job done to move up into 4th place. Clark, who has come from a lap down to get back into that position, and now race leader Edward Foster is looking pretty comfortable at the front there. So whilst nothing is guaranteed, with 22 laps now to go in this ANZCAR event, he is looking the goods to bring it home in that Goodyear Auto Care liveried Chevrolet that he is getting around in. Try and give some coverage to some of our other drivers. We're just on with Matthew Hunter, who is unfortunately a lap down. He's been in the wars a little bit, got caught up in a couple of the mid-pack slides that happened earlier in this race, but is still circulating just that one lap down at this particular point in time. We'll get to know more about these drivers. He looks like, just trying to see the livery of that one. It's not one of the more common ones that I have seen. We'll grab some more information on that for you for next time. Norman Clark got some track racer liveries on his car there, so track racer obviously involved in the local sim scene, so potentially involved with Norman there as a sponsor, so thank you to them for jumping on board with him. Lachlan right behind him, unfortunately a couple of laps down as well, involved in a couple of those track offs that required a little bit of cosmetic repair in pit lane. And then Carl Withy, who has just jumped through the pits and back out onto track with, as I mentioned earlier, Brian Richmond, unfortunately out of this event on lap 22. Josh Hardigan there in a JP Simshed sponsored car. He is currently running in 3rd, around about 6 seconds behind our race leader. So race leader just makes his way around back onto the back straight there. We'll jump on board with him again and bring him up on the main screen. And we'll keep an eye on this battle with Raymond and Clark, which seems to have just plateaued itself a little bit there at just under that half-a-second mark. So any potential safety car issues here, yellow flag issues here, could see an interesting run to the finish for this one. with just on 15 laps to go as our race leader crosses the start-finish line now. Trying to work out what he was doing there. It sounded like a feather in the throttle, or what we would have expected in a circuit car, like it was running out of fuel, but that certainly can't be the case because he only pitted recently. So just feathering the throttle there to keep the car under control. So we'll just jump back on with this. I was just watching this Hardigan battle here as it has closed right back up, and we have got a move for the lead there with Raymond getting through on the inside. No, is Clark through? Yes, he has. He's managed to get the job done there. They're still battling it out. It's not quite finished yet, but yeah, it looks like a little mistake there from Raymond in the 83 Chevrolet allowed Clark to catch up to him, and as he ran wide, just ducked down the inside and managed to hold that out for a change in position there. So Clark up to fourth in the number 17 Tide Chevrolet. We had nearly 2 seconds behind Jason Hardigan in third, so that may, with the number of remaining laps, only 9 after this lap, may mean that that's about as good as she's going to get for Clark on that comeback drive from the rear of the field. So, but you never know. Safety lap close the field up and could mean that it's a quick sprint to the end. So we'll just keep an eye on that battle. Race leader Edward Foster still in the small window on the bottom right hand corner of the screen there, so keep an eye on him as he continues to dominate this one after the safety car. He has nearly opened up a coming up to 3-second lead now to Gallagher behind him, and 10 seconds to Jason Hardigan back in third. So just for him, the job is pretty simple from here, is clean and making sure that there is no more cautions or whatever he can do to try and avoid there being any caution that might close this field up and challenge him for the last 6 laps of this race. Thanks there, Steve, for the extra information there. Yeah, I knew it wasn't a Camaro. I was a little bit underprepared with the issues that we were having at the start of the stream there, so my apologies, and I appreciate your input. Yeah, the Thunderbird. I knew it was the Thunderbird. Believe it or not, I actually had a Thunderbird in the old AFX slot car set when I was a kid, so I did know that. But yeah, certainly I forgot it was the Monte Carlo. Obviously the bow tie badge there being extremely common, so I knew where we were shopping. I just didn't know what car we were buying. But thanks for contributing to the broadcast. Okay, so we've only got 3 laps to go here in this race as we bring this one around to its conclusion, and just definitely a fantastic performance here from Edward Foster as he comes around, and he will get the white flag as we get around to this lap. And just checking, that is a challenge for position there as well. So we've got a potential last lap change for position there between Clark and Hardigan. Hardigan's tyres may well have gone off. We're on the final lap. We are following our race leader, but in the small screen there, you can see the battle there that's going on for third, and this could be a late charge for Clark. He's right on the back bumper of that 51 car as they head up towards the back corner. He's going to have a dive, is he, and try and make it stick, and it's well defended there by Jason Hardigan to try and maintain that position, but he's going to cut under him, is he, and is he going to get it done before the finish line? No, he's not going to get it done, so he's just missed out there. So Hardigan doing really well to defend his position and take home third in this race. But a great drive back from Stephen Clark, who did come back from the rear of the field, just avoiding the leader nipping at his heels at the end of this one. So, but congratulations, Edward Foster, who has taken out this round 8 race at the Martinsville Raceway. So 130 laps around Martinsville, and Edward Foster just taking home the bickies there. But a fantastic race. Hamish Gallagher, well done, and congratulations for your second place in this event. A clean and consistent drive from you, and certainly putting the pressure on Foster as he did battle with Stephen Clark to try and get into the clean air, but certainly a good battle there, and almost a replacement for third place. But Jason Hardigan taking that one home. Stephen Clark in 4th, Matthew Raymond in 5th, Matt Hunter 6th, Norm Clark in 7th, and we have Lockie in 8th, Carl Withy in 9th, and Brian Richmond, who unfortunately is out of this one from lap 22, coming home in 10th spot. As our race leader, Foster, just continues to circulate his way back around it through pit lane. I'll have to have a chat with him. I was expecting some burnouts or something a little bit entertaining at the end of this one from him, and he's just pulled that one into pit lane. So that's the end of our very first stream for the Oval Track 87 series, and appreciate your patience as we got through those couple of teething issues that we had at the start of the stream. Guarantee you that they will not occur next week when we jump on board. We're heading to Talladega next Wednesday night, and I'm looking forward to that one. A faster track, more banking, and if I'm not mistaken, the track where we're going to see a lot of high-paced racing, a lot of close racing as well. So, as I mentioned, if you are interested in joining the series, do jump onto the ANZCAR Facebook page and apply to drive. We would love to see a full grid of these cars out on the track each Wednesday night when we bring this one to you. So if you're interested in racing, do jump on the ANZCAR page. And in fact, if you are interested in doing any of the NASCAR racing, the guys there run a multitude of fields in different varieties as well. So jump on board and have a look and see what takes your fancy, and see if you can join the series. But we would obviously love to see you here with the Nationals. So thanks again to our channel sponsors, Aftershock PC, Your Rig, Your Choice, Virtual Motorsport Mentor, and simrigs.com. I'm Stuart Brown for FGM eCast. It's been my pleasure to bring you this event, and until next week, we're actually got a quiet week this week on the eCast as we are in between seasons. But if you're interested in watching some endurance racing, we do have a Nürburgring 6 hour that we will be bringing you on Saturday evening from 5 o'clock until 11 p.m. or so, before we head back into silly season, where we are broadcasting iRacing live 4 nights a week, starting from next week, with the Australian Pro Sim GT3 series that we'll be bringing you their first round live from Phillip Island next Wednesday night here with you on the 87s at Talladega, followed by the first round of the Australian Endurance E-Series, where we head to mid-Ohio to run our first event there, and then excited to bring you some IndyCar racing next Friday night. So certainly a full plate for us at the eCast, but we are looking forward to bringing it to you. And once again, thanks for watching and joining us on this ANZCAR Grand National Series race from Martinsville. Good night.